Chapter 41 Where in Life Do We Not Meet? You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Ling Feng walked in from the entrance of the mountain gate and was secretly surprised when he saw a large group of disciples gathered densely in the square behind the mountain gate. Good guy, isn't this battle too exaggerated? However, when he saw two graceful figures standing in front of him, one green and one white, apparently Yu Yunlan and Xiaoxiao who had saved him in the great wilderness mountains, his eyelids twitched. There are really no places in life where we don't meet each other. Miss you? Ling Feng was secretly curious, why did Yu Yunlan come to Wanqing sect? He didn't know that because of the smile on Yu Yunlan's face, he had become the public enemy in the hearts of all the male disciples of the Wanqing sect. A series of jealous glances were shot towards Ling Feng. Miss Yu didn't take Yunjing seriously at all, but she actually smiled at this guy who looked like a savage. What happened to this world? Bastard, where did you come from, a wild boy? This is the gate of the Wanqing sect, and you are not allowed to act wild. Yunjing secretly resented that even though there were many checkpoints set up at the bottom of the mountain, this savage still broke into the mountain. How did he know that Ling Feng held the leader's jade order in his hand, so how could any outer disciple dare to stop him? I am also an inner disciple. I don't need to report to you when I enter or leave the sect. Ling Feng looked at Yu Yunlan without even sparing Yunjing, and stepped forward to salute her. Miss Yu, Miss Xiaoxiao, we meet again. Ling Feng. It turns out that you are also a disciple of the Wanqing sect. Yu Yunlan hadn't spoken yet, but Xiaoxiao said with a smile, what a coincidence. Seeing that Ling Feng and Yu Yunlan actually knew each other, the corners of Yunjing's mouth twitched a few times, and he immediately put on a flattering face and said with a smile, it turns out to be junior brother Ling Feng, and it turns out that you are still a friend of Miss Yu and the others. Woolen cloth. Ling Feng glanced at Yunjing with his peripheral vision, a trace of disgust flashed in his eyes. From the bottom of his heart, he despised such a hypocritical villain. Yunjing obviously understood the disdain in Ling Feng's eyes and clenched his fists, but in front of Yu Yunlan, he still maintained a graceful posture and said with a smile, since we are all friends, why not let me do it? Let Miss Yu take a look at the scenery of our Jiaoshan mountain. Who are you friends with? Xiaoxiao glared at Yunjing. Okay, why are you so annoying? My lady didn't come to ask Xianzong what scenery to see. Now that Ling Feng is here, you can leave. This. Yunjing looked embarrassed and looked up at Yu Yunlan, but saw that Yu Yunlan did not refute, obviously acquiescing to Xiaoxiao's words. Yunjing still didn't know that from beginning to end, he was just being sentimental. He gritted his teeth and smiled dryly. It turns out that Miss Yu is here to see junior brother Ling, so I won't bother you anymore. Miss Yu, I'll take my leave. After Yunjing finished speaking, he glanced at Ling Feng fiercely, then turned around and walked away with several junior disciples from the main peak. Ling Feng didn't take it seriously at all. He wasn't even afraid of asking the head of the immortal sect. He didn't even pay attention to a mere true disciple. Seeing Yunjing and the others leaving in despair, the remaining disciples all looked at Ling Feng in surprise. It turned out that the one who really climbed the high branch was not the true disciple Yunjing, but Ling Feng. Naturally, Ling Feng didn't think that Yu Yunlan and the others would come to him specifically. He looked at Yu Yunlan and said, I wonder what I can do to help Miss Yu. Yu Yunlan smiled and said, Master Ling, I wonder if there is a senior named Duanmu Qingshan among your sect. Are you looking for my master? Ling Feng was stunned for a moment, then exclaimed in surprise. Your master? What a coincidence. Xiaoxiao on the side immediately jumped up excitedly. Quick, take us to find your master. Ling Feng glanced at Yu Yunlan and the two to make sure they were not hostile, then smiled and said, okay, then please come with me. With that said, he took master and servant Yu Yunlan and walked towards Shaozhu Peak. A large group of Wanqing sect disciples were left, standing in the Yanwu Square, looking at each other, but no one dared to follow up to find out. After a long time, after Ling Feng and the other two figures had gone away, someone said with emotion, oh my god, did that guy take Miss Yu to Shaozhu Peak? Damn, that guy turned out to be Ling Feng. Damn it, he walked away from the inner gate originally. this time I'm afraid even the head will give him 3 points of noodles. This guy is really a legend. How many days has it been since he joined the Wenxian sect? This is the second thing. It turns out that Master Duanmu's uncle still has a relationship with the Xianxia sect. If the Xianxia sect comes to help him, let's ask, wouldn't the head of the immortal sect have to be replaced? Holy crap. What you said makes so much sense. If I ask the immortal sect, I'm afraid things will change. For a moment, people were panicked. Originally, everyone was alienated from the Xiaxufeng lineage because of the leader, but now, compared with the behemoth like the Xianxia sect, the tiny head of the Wenxian sect is nothing. Xiaozhu Peak, Duanmu Qingshan was sitting in the yard at the moment, drinking the improved qi ice and fire wine, with a contented look on his face. Ever since Ling Feng used the moon spirit flower as a guide to suppress the sword energy in his body last time, his cultivation has slowly begun to return to its peak state. He only needs to continue taking the medicine prepared by Ling Feng. It won't be long before he is completely healed. He never thought that when he was almost desperate, he would meet Ling Feng, a monster whose medical skills and cultivation talents were astonishing. After all, that kid has been gone for a while. With that guy's strength, there shouldn't be any danger in training outside the great wilderness mountains. Duanmu Qingshan murmured to himself. At this moment, his brows wrinkled slightly. In his induction, he suddenly found 2 existences with very terrifying cultivation levels approaching his bamboo house. One of them is even more enigmatic, even he can't see through it. Is it Lin Songlong? Duanmu Qingshan's pupils narrowed slightly, and he immediately shook his head. No, it's not him, his aura is not like this. There shouldn't be such a master in the immortal sect. Duanmu Qingshan slowly stood up and waited attentively, thinking in his heart, I hope not, the person who comes is not good. After a while, I saw a young man wearing animal skin striding into the bamboo building, smiling and saying, Master, I'm back. Fenger. Duanmu Qingshan couldn't help laughing when he saw Ling Feng's outfit. You have been practicing in the great wilderness mountains for a few days, how come you have turned into a savage? Ling Feng shook his head and smiled bitterly. It's really hard to explain in words. After a pause, he introduced, by the way, Master, these 2 are Miss Yu and Miss Xiao Xiao. They came here specifically to see you. Yu Yunlan took a look at this old man who looked like a wine wizard, and immediately stepped forward and bowed, saying softly, Junior Yu Yunlan, pay your respects to the miracle Dr. Duanmu. Rolling and asking for favorites and recommendation votes. Chapter 42 The Successor of the Medical Saint. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Oh. Seeing as you are young, you have actually heard of my name. Duanmu Qingshan was a little surprised and couldn't help but look at Yu Yunlan a few more times. Ever since he was plotted by the sect and trapped in Xiaozhu Peak more than 10 years ago, he had completely disappeared from the Tianbai Empire under the name of Duanmu Miracle Doctor. Unexpectedly, to this day, there are still people who would come here to look for him because of the name of Duanmu Miracle Doctor. TCH, based on our Xianxia sect's information network, let alone the Tianbai Empire, or the entire Eastern Spiritual Territory, it is not easy to find information on doctors with Taoist medical standards. Xiao Xiao said with a proud smile. The Sky Sect? Duanmu Qingshan's expression changed slightly. Are you from the Sky Sect? Humph, my lady, she is the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect. Xiao Xiao said proudly. Hiss. Duanmu Qingshan took a breath and looked at Ling Feng in surprise. This disciple of mine is really amazing, he even knows the eldest lady of Xianxia sect. Xiao Xiao, who told you to talk too much? Yu Yunlan frowned slightly, glanced at Xiao Xiao, and said to Duanmu Qingshan, Xiao Xiao is young and ignorant, and does not understand etiquette. I hope seniors will not take offense. No. Duanmu Qingshan coughed dryly. He originally wanted to say I don't dare, but he couldn't save face in front of his apprentice. Duanmu Qingshan secretly blamed Ling Feng for not telling him Yu Yunlan's identity earlier. He had just acted like a senior, but now he suddenly lowered his attitude. It seemed a bit embarrassing. Seeing Duanmu Qingshan's old face turn red, Ling Feng quickly stepped forward to hold Duanmu Qingshan's pulse gate and asked, "Master, what's wrong with you? Is the sword energy acting up again?" "I'm fine." Duanmu Qingshan shook Ling Feng away with an embarrassed look on his face. He really wanted to kick Ling Feng on the butt to relieve his anger. Giggle. Xiao Qiao snickered secretly on the side, and was a little surprised at the same time. Why was Ling Feng not at all shocked when he heard that Yu Yunlan was the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect, nor was he flattering like others? It's no wonder that before Ling Feng joined the Wenxian sect, he knew nothing about the sect world and didn't understand what the Xianxia sect meant, so how could he be shocked? Moreover, although he vaguely knew that Yu Yunlan must have a good background, he had never thought about getting any benefits from Yu Yunlan, so why should he fawn over her and please her? Perhaps it was because Ling Feng's attitude towards him was different from ordinary people's that she had a slight fondness for Ling Feng instead of being as repulsive as she was towards Yunzheng. Duanmu Qingshan looked at Yu Yunlan carefully and said slowly, "Miss Yu, I see that your complexion is rosy and you are full of energy. You don't look like you are sick. Why did you come to me suddenly? Who told you that our young lady is sick?" Xiao Qiao said immediately, "We are here to replace Xiao Qiao." Yu Yunlan quickly grabbed Xiao Qiao and shook his head at her. How noble is the status of the leader of the Xianxia sect. In the Tianbai Empire, it can even be said that he is inferior to one person and superior to 10,000 people. It can be said that the Xianxia sect is the sect of the divine protector of the country, and the leader of the Xianxia sect is the one who suppresses the destiny of the empire. Therefore, the leader of the Xianxia sect is suffering from a strange disease. This kind of thing must not be said casually, otherwise, there will be turmoil in both the government and the opposition. Xiao Qiao stuck out her tongue. She was always outspoken and could not speak without thinking. She quickly stepped aside, not daring to say more. "Senior Duanmu, this junior's trip is to invite Senior to go to the Xianxia sect to treat a relative of this junior. I hope Senior can come out of the mountain." "Come out of the mountain?" Duanmu Qingshan smiled bitterly. Shaozhu Peak sealing formation was specially set up for him. Unless he made a breakthrough and broke out of the formation, he would never be able to leave Shaozhu Peak's range. Perhaps, the sect leader of the Xianxia sect is capable, but how could such a big shot take action for him? "What's wrong?" Yu Yunlan blinked. "Senior, are there any difficulties?" "It doesn't matter if you don't mention it, don't mention it." Duanmu Qingshan waved his hand and said, "Although I can't cure Miss Yu's relative, my disciple's medical skills are 100 times better than mine. If he takes action, I believe that no matter what strange disease it is, he can cure it." "Master Ling." Yu Yunlan looked at Ling Feng, obviously not believing it. How old is Ling Feng? How could his medical skills be 100 times better than the famous Duanmu miracle doctor? Xiao Qiao was much more rude and hummed, "Old Duanmu, if you don't want to take action, you don't have to drag your disciples out to make up the numbers, right?" "Xiao Qiao, don't be rude." Yu Yunlan quickly stopped. Duanmu Qingshan shook his head. "I'm definitely not trying to make up for it with Fenger. His medical skills are indeed far superior to mine." As he said that, Duanmu Qingshan laughed at himself. "Speaking of which, I am not only Fenger's master, but also his patient. I can't cure my injuries, but he can. Doesn't this explain the problem?" Is this true?" Yu Yunlan was surprised at first, and then ecstatic. If his medical skills are higher than those of the miracle Dr. Duanmu, then there is hope for his father. "That's true." Duanmu Qingshan picked up the wine gourd and took a sip. "Since Miss Yu knows me, she should have heard of Ling Hanyang, the medical saint who was famous throughout the eastern spiritual territory more than 20 years ago." Yu Yunlan nodded slightly. Medical sage Ling Hanyang was indeed a peerless Taoist doctor of all ages. Unfortunately, he has passed away. Wait a minute. Yu Yunlan's eyelids twitched, and she suddenly remembered something. "Ling Hanyang, Ling Feng, your surname is Ling, are you the descendant of the medical saint?" "Ling Hanyang, it's my grandfather." Ling Feng nodded. He didn't really rely on his grandfather's reputation, but facts proved that his identity as the successor of the medical saint was more convincing than any words. Great, really great. Yu Yunlan has never been so excited. This is an unexpected surprise. She was secretly glad that she had accidentally rescued Ling Feng, otherwise she would have missed the successor to the medical sage. Miss Yu. Ling Feng bowed to Yu Yunlan and said slowly, I can treat Miss Yu's relatives, but I hope Miss Yu can wait for about 2 months. First, I still need to cure the hidden injuries of Master. Secondly, I made an agreement with another senior that he may come back to me at any time within 2 months. If you don't have faith, you won't stand. I, Ling Feng, have said what I said and will never go back on it. I hope Miss Yu can wait for 2 months. 2 months. Yu Yunlan pondered for a moment, and finally nodded, okay, 2 months, 2 months. With her father's cultivation level, the strange disease won't hurt his life for a while. 2 months is not a long time. I will come again in 2 months. Mr. Ling, Senior Duanmu, and the little lady still have some things to do, so I won't disturb you any more and say goodbye. Yu Yunlan took a deep look at Ling Feng, and then waved to Xianxia next to her. Xiao, let's go, Ling Feng said calmly, then I will send the second girl out. Yeah. Yu Yunlan nodded and did not refuse, that's fine. Please bookmark and recommend votes. Chapter 43 The Leader Serves Tea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ling Feng sent master and servant Yu Yunlan out of the Wenxian sect mountain gate, and then returned to Shaozhu Peak. Along the way, whether it was the outer disciples, inner disciples, or even some deacons and elders, the way they looked at Ling Feng changed. In the past, due to Duanmu Qingshan, most people kept a distance from him, but now, Ling Feng seems to have a good relationship with the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect, and even the leader does not dare to touch him easily. After knowing this news, the one who was most unwilling to accept it was Yang Wei, the master of Feixing Peak. This Ling Feng, he sent to Duanmu Qingshan with one hand. As a result, not only did he send a genius, but now he also got a young lady with a profound background like Yu Yunlan. At this moment, the head of the Wenxian sect summoned Yang Wei, Li Liang and other elders, as well as Yun Zheng and other close disciples, and gathered in the main peak hall, all looking a little heavy. Master Qi, Ling Feng has sent Miss Yu down the mountain. A disciple rushed in from outside the hall and announced the news loudly. Okay, go and summon Ling Feng. Just tell him that the leader has something to do and ask him to come quickly. Lin Sanlang said with a solemn expression. Yes, how could the disciples dare to neglect the messenger? He quickly turned around and rushed out of the hall to find Ling Feng's whereabouts. This Ling Feng. Lin Sanlang took a deep breath and frowned deeply. He originally wanted to use Ling Feng to get Duanmu Qingshan's sword manual, but let him die of poison without a burial place. But now, Ling Feng is involved with the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect. If Ling Feng dies in Wenxian sect, then the daughter of the Xianxia sect leader will be angry at Wenxian sect. For Wenxian sect, it will undoubtedly be the end of the world. Disaster. Ling Feng is the second best, at least he can be considered a member of our side. Li Liang narrowed his eyes and said calmly, it's just that Miss Yu seems to have something to do with Duanmu Qingshan. If the two are connected, come on, we are truly beyond redemption. Humph, Duanmu Qingshan, this old man, is like a stone in the pit, smelly and hard. With his temper, if he ever changes his ways, we all will end badly. Yang Wei slapped the coffee table next to him and roared, in my opinion, let's go to Shaozhu Peak now and join forces to kill that old man. At worst, we will remain anonymous from now on. With the skills of our brothers, even if we go to the mountains to become bandits, you can also live a happy life. Nonsense. Lin Sanlang glared at Yang Wei fiercely, the matter is not yet clear, wouldn't it be too stupid to mess up now? Yes, the head brother is right. Li Liang touched the goatee on his chin and said calmly, the matter is not serious yet. In the final analysis, this is a family matter we ask the immortal sect, and the Xianxia sect does not it's better to intervene. It's better to ask that guy Ling Feng about the situation first and then make a plan. Yes. Lin Sanlang nodded slightly and turned to look at his true disciple Yunzheng, with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. He originally thought that with this disciple, he could make the sect soar to the sky, but it turned out that Yunzheng was nothing more than a bag of straw on an embroidered pillow, and could not get into the eyes of the eldest lady of the Zhangqiong sect. Yunzheng felt guilty when Lin Sanlang saw him, and he shrank his neck with a look of shame and anger. For a moment, the hall fell into silence, and everyone was quietly waiting for Ling Feng's arrival. It is quite strange for the master of a sect to wait patiently for an inner disciple here. About half an hour later, two figures walked out of the hall. The person leading the way was the messenger disciple. Behind him was a person wearing an animal skin vest. He didn't look like a disciple of the immortal sect, but rather like a hunter in the jungle. It was really a bit nondescript. Ling Feng was halfway back to Shaozhu Peak when he was stopped by the disciple who was summoning him, saying that the master had invited him. Ling Feng had long expected that Lin Sanlang would not be able to sit still, so he was not surprised at all. He spent more than half an hour along the way and finally arrived late. Just make them wait a little longer. Seeing Ling Feng enter the hall, Lin Sanlang immediately stood up from the throne of the headmaster, with a smile on his face. Ha 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 ha, Ling Feng, you are here. Holy shit, Yunzheng was dumbfounded on the spot. Is this still the superior master? This attitude is almost like a son seeing his father. Li Liang's reaction speed was not slow. He immediately stepped forward and led Ling Feng to sit in the first seat on the lower right. He chuckled and said, "Little friend Ling Feng, sit down, sit down." Yang Wei was a little embarrassed, but he managed an awkward smile and laughed. The other pulse-condensing realm disciples in the hall also gathered around with smiles. Junior brother Ling Feng, you are here. I just took a look at the outer square from a distance, and I felt that you are the best among men. Now at a glance, it's really amazing. Junior brother Ling Feng. In terms of seniority, we have to call him Junior Uncle Ling Feng. Yes, yes, Uncle Ling Feng, look at my bad mouth, I deserve a beating, I deserve a beating. That the previous disciple actually slapped two big mouths and greeted him in the face. Gulu. Yunjing swallowed. If Miss Yu is interested in him, then he is the one who is sitting here today and being regarded as the ancestor by everyone. He clenched his fists and put on a smile, wanting to go up and flatter him. Ling Feng's mouth had a sinister curve. He looked at Lin Sanlang, and said indifferently, "The master is here to find a disciple." "What do you mean?" "Huh, it's not a big deal." Lin Sanlang picked up a cup of tea and smiled lightly. Come on, you have worked hard all the way, let's have a cup of tea first." When the leader said this, I really feel a little thirsty. Ling Feng took the teacup and suddenly frowned. It's a little cold. Really? Li Liang quickly stepped forward and touched the teacup. It's really cold. Let me warm it up for you. As he spoke, Li Liang held the teacup with both hands and stimulated the strong qi. After a while, the tea boiled slightly and the tea had a leisurely fragrance. It was indeed the best tea. Not bad, not bad. Ling Feng picked up the teacup and took a sip. The leader serves tea, the elders make hot tea. This kind of treatment is great. The tea is good. Ling Feng put down the teacup, sat on the chair and stretched. Oh, after drinking the tea, my legs feel a little sore. I come. A disciple from the main peak next to him immediately squatted down and stretched out his hand to squeeze Ling Feng's calf. Uncle Ling Feng, actually my family's ancestral skill is foot massage. You don't need to come. Ling Feng's eyes were fixed directly on Yunzheng. He stretched out his hand and said calmly, "You come." Me? Yunzheng frowned. As a true disciple of the leader, he might even become the leader of the Wenxian sect in the future, but now he actually wants to pinch the feet of an inner disciple. Why, you don't want to? Forget it if you don't want to. Ling Feng shook his head. I am a person who easily loses control of his mouth when his feet are sore, talks nonsense easily, and forgets things easily. Evil disciple, you can't get out yet. Lin Sanlang stood up suddenly and turned around to glare at Yunzheng. Yunzheng's heart skipped a beat. As his master, he always put interests first. Even if he was his disciple, when necessary, he would be the first to abandon himself and save his commander. I'm coming. I'm coming. Yunjing gritted his teeth, lowered his body, squatted at Ling Feng's feet, and reached out to pinch Ling Feng's feet. However, before his hand touched Ling Feng's calf, Ling Feng frowned and kicked Yunjing directly in the face, sending him flying for more than 10 meters and knocking him to pieces. 8 elements. Please collect, please vote. Chapter 44. You are so poisonous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bastard, what do you want to do? Do you want to kill me with such force? Ling Feng stood up suddenly, glared at Yunjing who was kicked away by him, and yelled. In Yunjing's mind, millions of grass and horses whizzed past him in an instant. He didn't even touch him. How could he say that he used excessive force? On the contrary, Ling Feng kicked his nose and twisted it. His nose was bleeding now. It's still gurgling. You've gone too far. Yunjing clenched his fists, stared angrily, and was filled with murderous aura. He is a majestic master of the pulse condensation realm. His strength is so strong that he can even compete with ordinary elders. He can easily crush an ant in the chi condensation realm like Ling Feng to death, and now he has to be humiliated like this here. It's obvious that you almost broke my leg just now, and you still want to cheat. The expression on Ling Feng's face was equally murderous. Everyone knew that he was clearly acting, but they didn't dare to tell the truth. Me? You bastard, don't try to treat me like a monkey. Yunjing was so ashamed and angry that he directly drew his sword. I'll kill you. Master. Look, this disciple has committed the following crime, and even drew a weapon in the main hall of our Wenxian sect. It is clear that he does not take the Wenxian sect or you, the leader, seriously. Ling Feng's every word is heartbreaking, and it cannot be said that he is not vicious. You evil disciple, suffer death. Lin Sanglong clenched his fists, knowing that Ling Feng was deliberately forcing Yunjing to lose control, but he still followed Ling Feng's wishes and continued the trick. I saw Lin Sanglong wave his sleeve, and 7 sharp sword energies burst out from his sleeves. The sword energy passed through his chest, and he heard 7 explosions of bang bang bang. And Yunjing's left chest exploded. A ferocious bloody hole, the heart inside had been exploded into minced flesh. Master, you, so, poisonous. The sound stopped suddenly, and Yunjing's body suddenly fell to the ground, dead. Ling Feng's eyelids twitched. He thought that at most he could force Lin Sanglong to arrange some messy crime for Yunjing and just imprison him for a while. However, he didn't expect that Lin Sanglong was actually more vicious than he thought. His close disciple, kill when told, without blinking an eye. In the main hall, all the disciples swallowed hard, and some even couldn't help but tremble slightly with their legs. After a brief silence, someone immediately clapped and cheered. Well done. How dare you disrespect Master Ling Feng, he deserves to die. Yes, I have long felt that he is not a good person at all. He is self-righteous every day, and he knows how to molest the female disciples in the sect. The leader kills relatives for justice, so he kills them well. Ling Feng curled his lips, feeling sorry for Yunjing in his heart. These bastards were following him around and sucking up to him all day long. Did he ever think that before his body had even cooled down, his bastards would start saying that he died well and wonderfully? Lin Sanglong took a deep breath, his face remained as usual, and he said calmly, okay, you guys take care of the body. Yes. The disciples quickly carried Yunjing's body out. For a moment, only Ling Feng, Lin Sanglong, Li Liang and Yang Wei were left in the hall. Lin Sanglong stared at Ling Feng and thought to himself, brat, what a good trick. With just a few words, I was forced to cut off my limbs and kill a close disciple with my own hands. Humph, but don't forget, your life is still in the hands of this leader. Ling Feng naturally knew what Lin Sanglong was thinking. Unfortunately, he was still naive, but he didn't know that he had long since exorcised the golden silkworm poison. Ling Feng, this is your antidote to the golden silkworm poison this month. Lin Sanglong casually threw a porcelain bottle over, and Ling Feng reached out to take it. Pretending to be eager, he quickly opened the porcelain bottle and swallowed the pill inside. Okay, after swallowing this antidote, the golden silkworm poison will no longer occur within a month. Lin Sanlang turned around and walked back to the leader's throne, feeling secretly proud in his heart. You thought that since you had climbed up to the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect, this leader would not be able to cure you. This antidote is just a reminder to you, don't get carried away. Master, why don't you completely eliminate the golden silkworm poison for me? Ling Feng raised his head and said with a frown. Then it depends on your performance. Lin Sanlang smiled faintly. Now that Yun Zheng is dead, as long as Duanwu Qingshan's sword sutra is obtained, you will be my true disciple, and the position of leader will be yours in the future. As long as you are loyal to me, I will let you live a long time. Of course. Ling Feng nodded and said solemnly, it's just that although I made many insinuations, Duanwu Qingshan only said that he would teach me the sword scripture after I reached the pulse condensation realm. This matter is not urgent. With the qi-enhancing pill given to you by my master, within half a year. Lin Sanlang looked at Ling Feng and his eyelids suddenly twitched. You have already reached the 7th level of qi condensation. Lucky, lucky. Ling Feng smiled and said, I went out to practice for a few days some time ago. I was lucky enough to find a heaven and earth spirit flower, and my cultivation level improved several levels. I see. Lin Sanlang took a deep breath. It seems that in less than half a year, in another 3 or 4 months, you will be able to reach the 10th level of qi condensation. Lin Sanlang paused and then said, tell me first, what is the matter with the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect looking for Duanwu Qingshan? It's nothing. Ling Feng said lightly, Duanwu Qingshan is known as Duanwu Miracle Doctor, so miss you came to him to ask about the treatment of a strange disease. Unfortunately, he didn't know what the strange disease was, so you the lady left immediately. Is it that simple? Lin Sanlang looked at Ling Feng with some disbelief. Master, my life is in your hands, do I dare to lie to you? I don't want to taste the attack of the golden silkworm poison again. I'm sorry you don't dare. Lin Sanlang nodded, his anxious heart suddenly relieved. Since Duanwu Qingshan has nothing to do with the Xianxia sect, he can rest assured. Very good. Ha ha ha. Lin Sanlang burst into laughter. Yang Wei and Li Liang were obviously relieved. After all, even if they borrowed 100 courages, they would not dare to become enemies of the Xianxia sect. Ling Feng thought to himself, even without the help of the Xianxia sect, can you guys deal with Duanwu Qingshan whose strength has returned to its peak? There's still more than a month left, so just wait and see. Ling Feng, I sincerely want to accept you as my true disciple. This sect leader's throne will definitely be reserved for you in the future. I hope you won't disappoint me. Lin Sanlang smiled for a while, and then he took out a porcelain bottle from his sleeve and threw it over. This bottle is the Xianyuan Pulse Forging Pill for refining the 8 extraordinary meridians. I know that you have recently practiced the rock body. With this bottle of pill, you will definitely be able to get twice the result with half the effort. Thank you, Master. Ling Feng put the Xianyuan Pulse Forging Pill away. Lin Sanlang was well versed in the principle of carrot and stick. With a slap in the face and a mouthful of candy, he gave both kindness and power, hoping that he would obey him obediently. Unfortunately, he chose the wrong partner. I'm asking for recommendation votes. Chapter 45 Come and Act Wild. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ever since Yu Yunlan, the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect, visited Wenxian sect, the attitude of everyone in Wenxian sect towards Ling Feng had immediately undergone earth-shaking changes, from the bullying and humiliation at the beginning, to the fear and retreat later, to now, everyone has begun to find ways to curry favor with Ling Feng, as if they regard him as a piece of cake. Unfortunately, Ling Feng rarely comes out of Shaozhu Peak. Yu Yunlan has been gone for a month. Ling Feng only comes out once or twice to go to the pill pavilion to pick up some medicinal materials for body training. Other than that, he has always stayed at Shaozhu Peak. Cultivation within, after a full month, Ling Feng's cultivation has reached the 9th stage of Qi condensation realm with the help of humanity and Qi enhancing pill. And it's been less than 2 months since he started practicing martial arts. This kind of speed can already be described as heaven-defying. Finally reaching the 9th level of Qi condensation, it's almost time to go out to the Sutra Pavilion and see if there are any other suitable martial arts. Standing on the top of the mountain, Ling Feng sheathed his sword and looked at the sea of clouds in front of him, feeling a surge of pride in his chest. In this month, not only has his strength improved by leaps and bounds, but the sword energy in Duanwu Qingshan's body has also been completely suppressed. I believe that with just one last injection, Duanwu Qingshan will be able to recover and return to his peak condition. As long as he continues his cultivation and breaks out of the formation, it will be just around the corner. After Duanwu Qingshan comes out, I believe that there will be an earth-shaking change within the Wenxian sect. Before that, we must become stronger. The rubbish of the immortal sect, I am really disappointed with this young master. There are thousands of inner disciples, but they can't find a single Qi-condensing realm disciple who can fight with me. Even your so-called pulse-condensing realm disciples are the second genius is only worthy of receiving my 3 swords. It's really ridiculous. You cats and dogs are actually worthy of being called the 3rd sect with our Luyun sword sect. Ling Feng left Shaozhu Peak, and as soon as he walked to the inner gate of the martial arts square, he heard an extremely arrogant and domineering voice, full of disdain and arrogance. It echoed in the sky above the entire martial arts square, and it was clear and audible even from hundreds of feet away. Smell, he suddenly became curious, looked sideways, and found a large group of people crowded around the martial arts square. Luyun sword sect. Ling Feng frowned slightly. How could someone from Luyun sword sect appear in Wenxian sect? He casually grabbed a nearby disciple who was watching and asked, what happened in front? It turns out to be senior uncle Ling Feng. That the disciple recognized Ling Feng at a glance and looked a little surprised. He quickly said, it's an inner sect elder from the Luyun sword sect who came with his close disciples to challenge our disciples of the Xianxia sect. As long as any disciple below the Qi condensation realm can defeat his apprentice, he will give away the high-grade profound weapon in his hand and a high-grade yellow-level swordsmanship. As he said that, the disciple frowned and said unwillingly, unfortunately, several senior brothers have already fought against that guy, but no one is his opponent. That's why the guy is showing off his power there. Oh. Ling Feng touched the bridge of his nose and looked around. He saw an open space in the middle of the martial arts square. In the center of the open space, stood a thin young swordsman, holding a 3-foot green-edged sword, with an unruly look in his eyes. At his feet was an older disciple of the Wenxian sect. He was vomiting blood. The young swordsman pointed at his throat with the tip of his sword, and he did not dare to move. Not far away, there were 2 middle-aged warriors. One of them had a proud look on his face and said with a smile, how about it, I am a closed disciple with pretty good talent. This person is an inner sect elder from Luyun sword sect, and his name is Elder Kanjian. Next to Elder Kanjian was Elder Qingyun, an inner sect elder from the Wenxian sect. His expression became much stiffer, and he clenched his fists tightly. He couldn't stand the sullen expression on Elder Kanjian's face. It's a pity that his disciples are not as skilled as others, so he has no confidence to speak at all. Hey, I have good intentions and want to give away the sword and swordsmanship, but it's a pity that you, the disciples of Wenxian sect, can't live up to the expectations. Ha ha ha. Elder Kanjian burst into laughter, and the elders, deacons, and concubines of Wenxian sect around him laughed. The disciples were all filled with righteous indignation. The huge Wenxian sect, on its own land, was actually humiliated to such an extent by an old man and a young man from the Luyun sword sect. I heard that you asked about a guy named Li Muge in the immortal sect. He seems to have some skills. Who is the #1 genius in the pulse condensation realm? Call him out. Other cats and dogs are not qualified to let me use the sword. As he said that, the young swordsman from Luyun sword sect kicked the Wenxian sect disciple under his feet and flew him away with his arms folded in front of his chest, his face arrogant. Damn it, this disciple of Luyun sword sect is so arrogant. Damn it, It's okay to act arrogantly outside the mountain gate on weekdays, but now you actually come to our inner gate of Wanqing sect to act wild. The disciples of Wanqing sect were all trembling with anger, gritting their teeth and wanting to pounce on that arrogant guy. But his swordsmanship is really powerful. Even senior brother Xiao Bai was defeated by him with just a few moves. Xiao Bai was the disciple of the Wanqing sect who had just been kicked away by the swordsman from the Luyun sword sect. He was also a Qi sect with the 10th level of Qi condensation, but he couldn't block the opponent's 3 swords. Before Xiao Bai, more than a dozen disciples of the Qi condensation realm of Wanqing sect were defeated by the swordsman of Luyun sword sect with 1 sword. Only senior brother Li Muge can compete with him. Get out of the way, senior brother Li is here. Young man from the Luyun sword sect, you can never be proud again. At this time, from the back of the crowd, he consciously gave way to a path. Among them, a young man wearing a green gown, with eyebrows like swords and bright eyes, walked step by step towards the swordsman of the Luyun sword sect. It exudes an extremely fierce momentum. Are you Li Muge? Jingtian twirled the long sword in his hand coolly, staring at the person with a smile on his lips. You seem to have some ability, I hope you don't look like a silversmith. Wax gun tip. Humph, you'll know if you try it. Li Muge had an angry look on his face. His sect was humiliated by the other party. As a member of the Wanqing sect, how could he not be angry? Jiang. The long sword is unsheathed. Li Muge's long sword was pointed directly at Jingtian, his momentum soaring into the sky. Jingtian was unafraid, his swords facing each other fiercely and forcefully. A gust of mountain wind blew out of thin air, filling the air with a chilling smell. What a strong momentum. As expected of senior brother Li Muge. That boy from Luyun sword sect will definitely be defeated this time. The elder Kanjian who was watching the battle squinted his eyes and laughed. Humph, elder Qinyan, it seems that this is your last trump card for asking the immortal sect, right? Elder Qinyan snorted coldly, gritted his teeth and said, with Mu Ji's strength, I can definitely defeat your proud disciple. Oh. Let's wait and see. Elder Kanjian chuckled, but his eyes were full of incomparable confidence, as if he had already seen the final outcome. Guys, please collect and vote. Chapter 46. Have you asked me? You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Ling Feng stood in the crowd, narrowed his eyes, looked at the 2 people on the scene, and thought to himself, these 2 people are indeed extraordinary people, at least they are better than Xiao Qinggang and Li Changqing who they met in the great wilderness mountains. His ilk are more than capable. He raised his eyebrows. A month ago, he might not have been sure that he could defeat such an opponent, but now, the mountain wind swept by, and their robes fluttered. Remember my name is Jingtian. After all, you are also the number 1 Qi condensation realm disciple in the immortal sect. I at least want you to know whose sword you were defeated by. Jingtian swung his long sword. Smiled proudly. Jingtian, right? Li Muge didn't show any weakness. I'm sorry, I never have the habit of remembering the names of my defeated generals. I hope you can still be so arrogant in a while. Jingtian sneered, flicked his wrist, the sword buzzed, the sound of breaking wind sounded, and the sword was thrust out, 1 sword and 10 flowers. 10 rays of sword light bloomed like flowers, and the sword energy was vertical and horizontal. The onlookers quickly stepped back several feet to avoid being affected. Clang. Li Muge didn't react slowly. He thrust out his sword and the 2 swords clashed. The sound of gold and iron clashing was extremely harsh, and sparks flew out. Something capable. Jingtian looked up to the sky and laughed loudly, showing no mercy in his attack. For a moment, the 2 sides were going back and forth, sword lights flashing and crisscrossing, and messy sword marks appeared on the ground where the 2 were fighting, several inches deep. What a fast movement! What a fast sword! I can't even see how they attack. What an amazing sword energy! If it were me, I wouldn't be able to catch even half a move. Senior brother Li has become stronger again, he will definitely be able to defeat this Jingtian. Clang! There was another loud noise, and the sword blades intertwined, blowing the dust on the ground. The two figures staggered and separated, and pointed their swords at each other, facing each other from a distance. Judging from the previous confrontation, both sides were evenly matched, and it was not clear who was stronger and who was weaker. Not bad, you can fight so many moves with me, you are already much stronger than the first qi-condensing disciple of Qianquan sect. Di Jingtian's eyes were filled with excitement, but next, I'm going to do it for real. Li Muge held the hilt of the sword, breathing slightly heavy. It seemed like they were evenly matched just now, but in fact, he had a slight disadvantage. Di Jingtian's strength was really amazing. After catching so many of his swords in succession, Li Muge's right arm was already slightly numb. If this continues, he will definitely lose. It looks like Li Muge is going to lose. Ling Feng raised his eyebrows and said lightly. When a disciple from the Wanqing sect next to him heard these words, he immediately stared angrily and turned around to scold him. Who is this blind guy who actually has the ambition of others and destroyed his own prestige? However, when he saw Ling Feng's appearance, he immediately fainted. To this day, if you ask everyone in the immortal sect, no one dares to provoke this evil god. Uncle Ling Feng. Ling Feng shrugged and ignored the disciple, but he was vaguely looking forward to sparring with Di Jingtian, not to mention anything else. Just the high-grade mysterious weapon and the high-grade Huang-level swordsmanship are tempting enough. On the field, Di Jingtian and Li Muge didn't speak anymore, but their whole bodies actually became more condensed. The momentum of the two collided, creating a whirlwind that swept away all the dust under their feet. Kick. Kick. The two of them touched the ground with one foot almost at the same time, and shot out quickly like arrows from a string. The boundless falling wood is killing. Di Jingtian slashed out with his sword, and a chill swept over the entire place, as if autumn was coming and the sky was full of fallen leaves. What an amazing idea! Li Muge's expression changed slightly. This was a sign of perfecting his swordsmanship and killing moves. His swordsmanship was so good that it could interfere with the opponent's perception. The vast ocean is vast. Li Muge also shouted loudly, like thunder exploding. The sword energy rushed out like a rolling river. The whole sky seemed to be swept by the stormy waves. The sky and the earth were dim, the sun and the moon were without light. So strong. Really strong. The real killer move has appeared, and the two of them will decide the outcome with one move. The disciples of Wanqing sect became excited. Senior brother Li will definitely win. Ling Feng shook his head. The strength of the two was very close. However, Di Jingtian's killing intent of fallen leaves was slightly stronger than Li Muge's turbulent waves. Li Muge will lose this battle. Bang! The two people's killing moves finally collided together, and the turbulent waves collapsed. His murderous intent was like flying sword energy, leaving Li Muge with scars all over his body, and the blood dyed his blue clothes red. Robe. You lost. These three words hit Li Muge's heart hard, making his face turn pale. He was defeated, completely defeated. If it were a life and death battle, the opponent's sword would pierce his heart. The corner of Di Jingtian's mouth curled up. The number one in the Xianxia sect is nothing more than that. After saying that, Di Jingtian sheathed his sword, turned to look at Elder Qin Jian, and smiled proudly. Master, let's go. Li Muge's face was pale and his eyes were dull. Without saying a word, he clenched his fists and left silently. He lost, along with the dignity of the Wanqing sect. Elder Qin Jian laughed loudly and said, "Good disciple, you did a great job. After all, the Wanqing sect still doesn't have enough background to be compared with our Luyuan sword sect." Elder Qinyan's face turned red and he clenched his fists tightly. His disciples' skills were not as good as others, so he had nothing to say. Today I can sweep across the qi-condensing realm disciples of the Wanqing sect. In the future, I will sweep away the true disciples of the pulse-condensation realm. The Wanqing sect will always be under the shadow of me. Di Jingtian, unable to raise its head. Di Jingtian uttered arrogant words. It was because he was crazy when he was young. If he is not crazy now, when will he be crazy? That's too much. You. A disciple of the Mingwenxian sect was so angry that he was shaking all over. but no one dared to step forward. Even Li Muge was defeated. Who else? Who said Li Muge is the first person to ask the immortal sect's chi condensation realm? Have you asked me? That this time, it was Ling Feng who pushed through the crowd and walked out step by step. If you want to sweep across Wenxian sect, you'd better defeat me first. It's Ling Feng. That the disciples of the Wenxian sect who were already in despair couldn't help but get excited when they saw Ling Feng coming forward, but soon, their expressions darkened again. Ling Feng was indeed a genius. A month ago, he had killed a monster like Xiao Qingfeng with one sword. However, Xiao Qingfeng and Li Muge are not warriors of the same level at all. Even if they kill Xiao Qingfeng instantly, it doesn't mean they can compete with Di Jingtian. Why did he go up? How could he be Di Jingtian's opponent? Elder Qin Yun frowned. Although Ling Feng dared to go up to fight, it showed that he was bloody enough, but a moment of enthusiasm would not accomplish anything. You ask, if the immortal sect really has no one, do you have to rely on this kind of stuff to maintain the dignity of the sect? Elder Qin Jian of the Luyan Sword sect burst out laughing. In his opinion, Ling Feng's aura was far inferior to that of Li Muge. Just by him, he would definitely be killed instantly by Di Jingtian's sword. Elder Qin Yun clenched his fists and sighed in his heart, I hope he won't lose too ugly. Obviously, he had no confidence in Ling Feng at all. Ling Feng's identity is very special, but at this juncture, is it possible for him to say that he has a close relationship with the eldest lady of the Zhangqiong sect in order to suppress the other party? If that's the case, it would be disgraceful to win. I'm asking for a recommendation vote. Chapter 47 I Only Throw One Punch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who are you? Di Jingtian looked at Ling Feng who walked out of the crowd and found that his level was not even that of an airbender. A look of disdain flashed in his eyes, just because you are not qualified to fight with me. You will know if you are qualified or not. Ling Feng narrowed his eyes, why, you don't dare. Don't you dare. Di Jingtian seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world, boy, you asked for this, you can't blame me. Di Jingtian's face was filled with murderous intent. Even a person with a 9th stage of chi condensation and something like an ant dared to jump around in front of him. Draw your sword. Ling Feng's tone was very indifferent. He stared at Di Jingtian and said calmly, I won't even use my sword to defeat you. As soon as these words came out, the disciples of the Wenxian sect who were watching were all dumbfounded. Di Jingtian was stunned at first, and then burst out laughing, almost to the point of laughing so hard that he could not stand upright. This Ling Feng is too arrogant. Di Jingtian even defeated senior brother Li Muge and Li Muge was among the crowd, clenching his fists and feeling a surge of anger in his heart. He was Di Jingtian's defeated general. He knew very well how powerful Di Jingtian was, but Ling Feng actually dared to say such big words, which made him feel very disdainful. A mere Ling Feng can't even defeat himself. Why should he talk nonsense here? Boy, I originally planned to break one of your legs and let you lie down for a few months, but based on your words, I am going to destroy your hands and make you a cripple. A complete cripple. Di Jingtian's eyes were full of murderous intent, and he stared at Ling Feng coldly with a sharp gaze. You should wake up. The long sword in Di Jingtian's hand buzzed and trembled. Faced with this kind of guy who didn't know whether to live or die, Di Jingtian took action extremely ruthlessly. Watch it, I'm only going to throw one punch. Ling Feng stood on the spot, not drawing his sword as expected, but holding one hand behind his back. His eyes were focused, and an artistic conception like an angry sea surged around him. It's the 9-level sea suppressing fist. Seeing Ling Feng's starting position, some people have already recognized the moves he used. The 9 layers Shanghai fist was originally a fragmented manual, and few people in the Wenxian sect had mastered it. However, last time Xiao Qingfeng got the second half of the incomplete manual, and made a bet with Ling Feng, and ended up losing the complete boxing manual. And lost his own life. Humph, what kind of breaking boxing technique, go to hell. Di Jingtian's sword thrust out like a galactic sword, with a sharp sword light that made people almost unable to open their eyes. The boundless falling wood is killing. As soon as he made a move, Di Jingtian came up with the ultimate move to defeat Li Muge. In his opinion, if Ling Feng took this move forcefully, all his muscles and veins would be severed and he would become a useless person. However, what he didn't expect was that his invincible killing move was easily dodged by the other party, and the opponent's fist was already on his chest. Now look, who is defeated? The corner of Ling Feng's mouth curled up, and then he roared, Jiaolong, Xianxia, bang. At such a close range, the power of the dragon's Xianxia punch fully exploded, directly hitting Di Jingtian's chest. Before Di Jingtian could react, his heart had been pierced, and blood and minced flesh rose into the sky, turning into a cloud of blood mist that drifted away in the wind. With his eyes widened, Di Jingtian looked at Ling Feng in disbelief. He never dreamed that the other party would kill him instantly with just one move. Moreover, he took his life mercilessly. The disciples who were watching all took a breath of cold air. This scene is so similar. This Ling Feng is simply an evil god. Anyone who dares to provoke him will only die. A month ago, Shao Qingfeng was like this. A month later, Di Jingtian did the same thing. Ling Feng stood proudly. With the eye of heaven open, he knew Di Jingtian's killing moves completely, and all the flaws were in his eyes. In this case, Di Jingtian naturally had no choice but to die. Shocking! Elder Kanjian of the Luyun sword sect shouted violently, his eyes filled with bloodshot eyes and his hands trembling, "Disciple, my good disciple." A ball of anger rose in Elder Kanjian's chest. A pair of blood-stained eyes stared at Ling Feng, and shouted, "Little bastard, I will kill you. Fists and feet have no eyes. If your disciple hurts me, can you ask the disciples of the immortal sect, but why not if I kill him?" Ling Feng faced Elder Kanjian's cannibalistic gaze with awe and no fear. Killing requires a life, you die. Elder Kanjian lost his beloved disciple and almost fell into madness. He swung the sword in his hand and wanted to kill Ling Feng. Elder Kanjian, don't forget, this is the territory of Iwenxian sect. Elder Qingyun quickly drew out his sword, swung away Elder Kanjian's sword move, and shouted coldly, in any case, Ling Feng vented his anger on behalf of the Wenxian sect and regained the lost face. Elder Qingyun could not sit idly by and let Elder Kanjian do whatever he wanted. Ling Feng narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that Elder Qingyun would help him. However, even if Elder Qingyun did not take action, Ling Feng was not afraid of Elder Kanjian. This is the territory of Wenxian sect. As long as you are in Wenxian sect, you can take out the Jade Order of the Head and the sword energy of Duanwu Qingshan to support you at any time. No matter how strong this Elder Kanjian is, can he still be stronger than Duanwu Qingshan? If this were the case, the Luyun sword sect would have become the dominant one in the Xianzhou mountains long ago. How could it be the Wenxian sect's turn to sit in a treasured land like the Nine Immortals Mountain? Qingyun, you can't stop me. Elder Kanjian was so angry that his beard was trembling. He finally received a disciple with outstanding talent and treated him completely as his successor. However, he was killed by Ling Feng at the request of him. It's almost as painful as cutting your skin. Sweat was pouring from Elder Qingyun's forehead. He was indeed not as strong as Elder Kanjian. He barely blocked a few moves. His body was filled with energy and blood, and he was somewhat exhausted. Elder Qingyun, get out of the way. Ling Feng stood proudly and looked at Elder Kanjian. Feng Qingyun said calmly, I want to see this old bastard. How does he want to kill me? What? Elder Qingyun's expression changed, thinking, is this kid crazy? He beheaded Di Jingtian, an unparalleled prodigy and monster, but this Elder Kanjian was at the late stage of the pulse condensation realm. He could kill him at will with just a snap of his fingers. Elder Qingyun, get out of the way. He can't kill me. Ling Feng's words were so loud and powerful that people unconsciously believed them. The expression on Elder Qingyun's face changed several times. Seeing that a disciple had already gone to notify other elders, he gritted his teeth, sheathed his sword and stepped aside. Little bastard, you are seeking death. Elder Kanjian didn't know why Ling Feng had the courage to face him directly, but he was only in the Qi condensation realm. Could he still turn the world upside down? Old bastard, I advise you one last time, don't ask for trouble. Ling Feng's right hand pinched the leader's jade order in his arms. As long as this old guy takes action, Duanmu Qingshan's sword energy will teach him how to behave. In the new January, I wish everyone good luck. I'm asking for recommendation votes. Chapter 48. Do you want to die or live? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Go to hell. Elder Kanjian stared intently at Ling Feng. Not far from his feet, Di Jingtian's body was dripping with blood. That scarlet blood stimulated Elder Kanjian's endless murderous thoughts. The surrounding disciples of the Wenxian sect all changed their colors in shock. The terrifying murderous aura around Elder Kanjian was something that these juniors had never seen before. Retreat again and again. The disciples of the Wenxian sect were trembling. One can imagine what kind of majestic pressure Ling Feng, who was facing the murderous intent of Elder Kanjian, was facing at this moment. However, from the beginning to the end, Ling Feng was not afraid at all. Instead, he looked at Elder Kanjian provocatively and raised his finger at him. Old bastard, stop talking nonsense. If you have the guts, kill me. Die. The sword energy swept across and the strong wind shot out. A sword as black as ink in Elder Kanjian's hand buzzed and trembled. His strength was not at the same level as that of the dead Di Jingtian. With one sword strike, the sky and the earth were eclipsed. The awe-inspiring sword energy almost condensed into substance, and like a torrential rain of pear blossoms, it swept out crazily. Go and pay with your life for my disciple. Elder Kanjian shouted loudly. In order to prevent anyone from blocking him from the side, he used all his strength with this sword move. Even if Elder Qingyun faced this move, he would only die. Ling Feng's scalp was slightly numb. Such a strong man was indeed not easy to provoke, but he also had his own life-saving magic weapon. At the moment when the sword energy rushed towards him, Ling Feng took out the leader's jade order, and saw a faint light flashing above the jade order, and the golden sword energy burst out crazily. Swish, swish, swish. Bang bang bang. Two sword auras exploded almost right in front of Ling Feng. Soon, the golden sword aura completely crushed Elder Kanjian's black sword aura. The light gradually dissipated, and the Elder Kanjian was seen spitting out a mouthful of blood and flying backwards, while Ling Feng did not move at all. However, he was slightly sweating when he squeezed the palm of the head Yuling's hand. Just a little bit away, Elder Kanjian's sword energy might be enough to cut off his own head. Puff. Elder Kanjian covered his chest and lay on the ground like a dead dog. A pair of pupils looked at Ling Feng in disbelief. How is it possible? What is going on? Ling Feng did not answer. He walked step by step in front of Elder Kanjian and said coldly, "Do you want to die or live?" Elder Kanjian was trembling all over, looking at Ling Feng's slightly smiling face. He looked like a devil from hell. He knew very well that this boy definitely had the courage to kill him. Ling Feng was helpless. With his temperament, I would not offend anyone unless they offended me. If someone offended me, I would pay him back 100-fold. This Elder Kanjian wanted to kill him, and he definitely had a reason to kill him, but after all, he was the elder of Luyun's sword sect. Under the public gaze, if he killed the elder of Luyun's sword sect, he would definitely become the trigger for the faction war. Killing Di Jingtian can also be said to be a competition between peers, killing an elder of Luyun's sword sect. This kind of contradiction is almost irreconcilable. After all, he is also a member of the Wenxian sect, so he cannot be so reckless. The surrounding elders, deacons, and disciples also held their breaths and looked at Ling Feng, not even daring to take a breath. Elder Qingyun's face was as dark as water, and he secretly prayed in his heart, "This little lunatic, please don't act recklessly." Within the Xianzhong Mountains, the Wenxian sect, the Luyun sword sect, and the Qianquan sect stood on 3 pillars. Once there is a fight with the Luyun sword sect, the Qianquan sect will definitely watch the fire from the other side. Regardless of whether the Wenxian sect can defeat the Luyun sword sect, the Qianquan sect will definitely take advantage of the situation, and the Wenxian sect will most likely disappear completely in the sect world. I think, alive. Elder Kanjian lowered his head, like a bereaved dog. It is absolutely a shame and humiliation for a dignified elder to suffer such a big loss at the hands of a junior in the Qi condensation realm. Well, that's a good choice. Ling Feng looked at Elder Kanjian calmly without any emotion, and said slowly, then, everything will follow the rules. What rules? Elder Kanjian said solemnly. You brought your apprentice here to challenge, and now he loses. Then, according to the agreement, you should also give me the high-grade mysterious weapons and the high-grade Huang-level swordsmanship, right? Ling Feng smiled faintly, revealing a row of pure white swords. Teeth, however, in the eyes of Elder Kanjian, this smile was simply more hateful than the devil. He killed his own apprentice and now wants the sword and sword manual. There is no one more shameless in the world than him. I'll give it. Elder Kanjian completely admitted his defeat, took out a long sword and a yellowed sword manual from the space spirit ring, and said bitterly, this is what you want. This sword. Ling Feng took a look at the high-grade mysterious weapon that Elder Kanjian took out. Although the cold light and sword energy were compelling, it was still far inferior to the pitch-black sword in Elder Kanjian's hand. High-grade profound weapons are too precious. I won't bully you. I want the black scrap metal in your hand. Ling Feng said, without any explanation. He snatched the sword from Elder Kanjian's hand. He came over and took away another sword manual. Me. Elder Kanjian was so angry that he almost spit out blood. His sword was named Mo Yuan and it was also a top-grade mysterious weapon. However, after more than 10 years of hard work in forging and refining, it is faintly approaching the threshold of treasure weapon. Even 10 high-grade mysterious swords cannot be exchanged for one Mo Yuan sword. What? You think it's not enough? Ling Feng grabbed the high-grade mysterious weapon again and said with a smile, I didn't expect the elder of Luyun sword sect to be so polite, so I will accept it. Welcome next time, come and ask the immortal sect to be our guest again. After saying that, Ling Feng held a sword in one hand and a secret book in his arms. He left the dead dog-like Elder Kanjian behind and walked towards Shaozhu Peak in a swagger, with a yellow-level high-grade swordsmanship book. I don't need to go to any Tibetan scripture pavilion to borrow secret books. This trip has been really fruitful. Brat. Elder Kanjian's heart was roaring, and under the furious rage, another mouthful of blood spurted out. The surrounding disciples looked at Elder Kanjian on the ground, and then at Ling Feng's leaving figure, and the corners of their mouths all twitched. Elder Kanjian is really pitiful. His apprentice died, he was seriously injured, and now he is still so angry. Ling Feng, don't mess with me. For a time, I don't know how many people listed Ling Feng as the number one person who should not be provoked. At this time, several elders from the main peak arrived belatedly, including Li Liang. Li Liang saw the corpse of a Luyun sword sect disciple on the ground and an elder of the Luyun sword sect clutching his chest and vomiting blood. He frowned and asked, what on earth is going on? Elder Qingyun shook his head and smiled bitterly, and said slowly, Senior brotherly, the thing is like this. Please collect it, please vote. Chapter 49 Win Over. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Have you heard? Master Uncle Ling Feng killed Di Jingtian, the number one genius in the Qi condensation realm of Luyun sword sect. What's this? Even the elder Kanjian of Luyun sword sect was so angry that he vomited blood due to Ling Feng. Those bastards of Luyun sword sect, when they were training outside, they liked to bully us by relying on the large number of people to ask the immortal sect. Disciple, Master Ling Feng has given us a bad breath this time. That's right. I have long disliked the grandsons of Luyun sword sect. It would be great if Uncle Ling could take me with him when he goes out for training one day. My sword also wants to be stained with the blood of those grandsons of Luyun sword sect. Just go ahead and dream. With your little ability, it will only hinder Master Ling Feng. That the news seemed to have grown wings. The news that Ling Feng killed Di Jingtian in Yanwu Square and forced Elder Kanjian to retreat suddenly spread throughout the Wenxian sect. if they were in awe of Ling Feng before, it was just because of his relationship with the eldest lady of the Xianxia sect. Now, most people sincerely admire him. After all, a man who relies on women is at best a pretty boy. Only by relying on your own strength can you gain true respect. This time, Ling Feng gave a sigh of relief for all the Qi condensation realm disciples of Wanqing sect, and also for the sect. Therefore, most of the disciples, this master uncle Ling Feng, became more and more fluent as they called him. This is what a master should do. When this matter reached the ears of the headmaster and the senior elders of the sect, they did not pay much attention to it and could only let it take its course. However, seeing Ling Feng's reputation within the sect rising day by day, leader Lin Xinlang felt a little worried. Ling Feng, who had obtained 2 swords and a sword manual, had returned to Shaozhu Peak. Sitting cross-legged on the cliff where he usually practiced, he slowly took out the boxing manual handed over by Elder Qin Jian. It was the falling leaf sword technique performed by Di Jingtian. This sword technique is indeed extremely powerful, and its grade is not lower than the complete 9 layers of sea-suppressing fist. Ling Feng was secretly lucky. If he hadn't obtained the happy sword step and relied on his superb body skills, he could easily avoid Di Jingtian's killing move. Otherwise, although it would not be difficult for him to defeat Di Jingtian, it would be impossible for him to kill him instantly with one move. So easy. From his fight with Di Jingtian, Ling Feng had already learned a rough outline of the falling leaf sword technique. Although this sword manual was not very useful, it could also be used as an auxiliary practice. After looking through the sword manual, Ling Feng nodded with satisfaction. This sword technique was indeed much more powerful than the setting sun sword technique he learned from Li Changqing, and was not even inferior to the broken star sword technique. With these 2 swordsmanships, coupled with Xiaoyao's sword steps, Ling Feng had a faint impulse in his heart to challenge a strong person in the pulse condensation realm to see where the gap between himself and the pulse condensation realm was. Facing the sea of clouds, Ling Feng has great ambitions in his heart. He is no longer the little doctor who accepts everything. He has an infinite desire for power in his heart. Continue to practice. Xiaoyao's sword step. Master Ling Feng. As the sun sets in the west, the afterglow of the setting sun shines on the changing sea of clouds, as if covered with a layer of pale golden gauze. The endless rolling sea of clouds will soon sink into the mountains and return to calm. At this moment, Ling Feng stood on the top of the cliff with his sword in hand, and another day passed in the midst of hard training. This is also the normal life of Ling Feng. Apart from collecting herbs and decoctions for Duanmu Qing Shan every day, he basically spends the rest of his time practicing. Even at night, he meditates and improves his cultivation. When asking the disciples of the immortal sect, they only know how evil Ling Feng is, but they don't know that behind this, it is also inseparable from Ling Feng's hard practice day and night. When he heard someone calling him, Ling Feng felt a little strange in his heart. Normally, no disciple would dare to come to a place of right and wrong like Shaozhu Peak. Ling Feng looked back and saw that she was a girl of 16 or 17 years old. She was quite pretty. She was running towards him with the movement of chasing cloud steps. Her cultivation level is not high, she is at the 3rd level of Qi condensation, and she seems to be a new disciple who has just joined the inner sect. Whoosh! With a flash of his body, Ling Feng flew in front of the female disciple like an eagle and asked lightly, "Who are you?" The voice was very indifferent and somewhat inhumane. My name is Hongxiu, Su Hongxiu." The female disciple was obviously frightened by Ling Feng's fierce aura. She stood there in a daze, her voice trembling. Su Hongxiu's heart was beating wildly. Although Ling Feng was her idol, Ling Feng was also famous in Wanqing sect for being cruel and ruthless. Is something wrong? Ling Feng withdrew his momentum. When he was practicing his sword, his murderous intent was revealed and the murderous intent had not dissipated. No wonder Su Hongxiu was scared to death. Uncle Ling, elderly asked me to send a message, saying that in 3 days, I hope you can lead a team and take us new inner disciples out for trials. Su Hongxiu said timidly. Elderly? Li Liang. Yes, that's him. Su Hongxiu raised her eyes slightly and looked at Ling Feng quietly. Uncle Ling, can you agree? Many of our senior brothers and sisters are looking forward to it when they hear the news. Ling Feng touched the bridge of his nose. Although he didn't know what Li Liang and the others were up to, at this time, they were absolutely reluctant to kill him. Perhaps, he hopes to use the sect's sense of identity to completely sway to their side. Ling Feng's guess was indeed good, seeing that Ling Feng's reputation in Wenxian's sect was gradually increasing. Lin Songlong and those cunning guys would naturally find ways to take advantage of this. These old foxes know very well what a young man is thinking. Young people who are just starting out always have the aspiration to become a hero and be sought after by their peers. They wanted to use the sect and the bonds of companionship to bind Ling Feng's heart and make him completely belong to the sect, and naturally he would also completely belong to Lin Songlong. Unfortunately, in Ling Feng's heart, Wenxian's sect and Lin Songlong were never equated. Okay. Ling Feng nodded. After a month of meditation, he had indeed reached a bottleneck period. At this time, it is also time to go out and walk around and look for opportunities for breakthroughs. That's great. Su Hongxiu jumped up excitedly. Thank you, Uncle Ling Feng. I'll go back and tell everyone the good news. Go. Ling Feng curled his lips and understood why Li Liang asked Su Hongxiu to summon him. Such a scheming and innocent little girl is the easiest to arouse the affection of a hot-blooded young man like myself. Yeah. Su Hongxiu nodded repeatedly, suddenly remembered something, and said, by the way, Uncle Ling, Elderly also said that he has prepared some small gifts for you. You can go to him any time these days. He can just tell you about the relevant matters of this outing. I know. Ling Feng raised his eyebrows and thought to himself, Li Liang, you really have a way of winning over people's hearts. Unfortunately, I have seen through your true colors a long time ago. Although he was disdainful in his heart, Li Liang wanted to give him a gift, not for nothing. Tomorrow, I will go find him. Please bookmark and recommend votes. Chapter 50 Jiang Wanqing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next morning, Ling Feng went to the main peak and found Li Liang. Naturally, Li Liang was running errands for the leader. The smiling tiger praised Ling Feng and gave him the so-called small gift, a medium-grade mysterious soft armor, worn close to the body, is difficult to damage with swords and can remove more than 1,000 kilograms of force. When fighting, having such a soft armor to protect one's body can almost be said to be an extra life. A map of the training ground. Since Ling Feng is leading the team, the map is naturally indispensable. Moreover, this is not an ordinary map. It has detailed markings on dangerous locations, where rare medicinal materials grow, and various monster and beast branch areas. The above route was carefully selected by Li Liang, and he came up with such a path that is both safe and can yield great rewards. It can be said that letting Ling Feng lead the team on this trip basically allows him to establish prestige in the sect, and he can also harvest the precious spiritual flowers and spiritual grass along the way. It is an absolute good job. Among them, the meaning of bribery is self-evident. He just didn't say it clearly. As long as you obey us obediently, you will get as many benefits as you want in the future. Of course, there is one more thing, the antidote to golden silkworm poison. A month has passed, and Lin Songlong deliberately delayed a few days before sending the antidote to Ling Feng, just to let him suffer for a few days, to give Ling Feng some warning and let him know that his life was at stake. Sleep in hand, little did he know that the golden silkworm poison in Ling Feng's body had been resolved long ago. Instead, every time he took the antidote, he had to find a way to eliminate the medicinal properties of the antidote. It's a medicine that contains 3 parts of poison. The antidote can alleviate the toxicity of golden silkworm poison, which is itself a highly toxic poison. Ling Feng was not poisoned and took the antidote, which was a kind of pain. But he still had to pretend to be very thirsty and swallowed the antidote in one gulp. Time flies, and the 3-day period has arrived. When the sun rose on the 3rd day, hundreds of new disciples who were newly admitted to the inner sect had gathered in the martial arts square of the Wenxian sect's inner sect. They were divided into queues and stood neatly in the square. It has been several months since they paid homage to the inner gate, half a year in the long term, and a month or 2 in the short term. So the sect arranged for them to have their first outing trial. As a disciple of a sect, it is not enough to just compete and practice within the sect. Only through the baptism of blood and the tempering of fighting can one transform into a true warrior. These young faces all have expectant looks in their eyes. These people are all the fresh blood of Wanqing sect. In front of everyone, Li Liang stood with his hands behind his hands, his expression serious, and he was lecturing. The sect needs bloody disciples. The cultivator's sword must be baptized with blood to make it more sharp. Li Liang's words were very inspiring. All the disciples' blood boiled with excitement, their eyes sparkled, and they were full of fighting spirit. Of these 10 teams, 9 of them had 2 older disciples standing in front of them. Each of them had a strong aura, and their cultivation levels were at the early stage of the pulse condensation realm. There was more or less a smile in their eyes. Seeing these young faces, I couldn't help but think of myself, who seemed to have been deceived in this way. However, there was only a woman in purple standing in front of the 6th team. She frowned slightly and looked to the west of Yanwu Square from time to time, as if waiting for something. After Li Liang finished speaking some inspiring words of encouragement, he turned to look to the west and muttered in his heart, "Damn it, why doesn't that kid come?" Just as he was talking, he saw at the end of his field of vision, a young man in white robes, carrying a sword as black as ink, slowly walking towards him. His speed seemed very slow, but within a few blinks, he was close. "Sorry, I'm a little late." Ling Feng stopped not far away. "Because I had to collect chalcedony flowers for Duanwu Qingshan, I came a little late." It doesn't matter." Li Liang seemed very patient and smiled slightly. Little did he know that if this person hadn't been Ling Feng, Li Liang would have gone crazy. "Hurry up and join the team. The team you are leading is Team 6, and the team you are leading is Jiang Wanqing, a disciple of senior sister Shui Yun of Xianxia." Ling Feng looked at the crowd and secretly sighed in his heart. If he hadn't been assigned to Duanwu Qingshan's lineage by accident, he would probably be one of the rookies among them. He looked at the 6th team. There were about 10 people in each team, and Su Hongxiu, who had summoned him that day, was also among them. As for Jiang Wanqing, the woman in purple who was leading the team, Ling Feng looked at her for a few times. She was indeed a beauty, with a tall figure and especially long legs. Moreover, he is only in his 20s and is already a warrior in the pulse condensation realm. He is obviously a person with outstanding talent. Jiang Wanqing had obviously heard of Ling Feng, but she was not interested in this guy who was late for the trip. Relying on his reputation, he let everyone wait for him in the cold wind for so long. How arrogant! Seeing Ling Feng sizing her up, her eyes met Ling Feng's with a hint of provocation. The implication was, "Although I am in the same team as you, you'd better not provoke your aunt." In her opinion, no matter how powerful Ling Feng is, he is at best just arrogant in the qi condensing realm. She is in the pulse condensing realm, and can easily suppress Ling Feng even though she is only in the pulse condensing realm. Ling Feng shrugged, ignored Jiang Wanqing's provocation, and slowly walked to Jiang Wanqing's side. The duration of this training is 7 days. Ling Feng prepared enough medicine for Duanwu Qingshan. When he comes back, he can give Duanwu Qingshan the last injection. It won't be long before Duanwu Qingshan can fully recover. Seeing Ling Feng joining the team, Li Liang nodded and said loudly, "Okay, I have already said what I need to say. Now, the team leaders will take your team members and set off." The training activities finally started amidst the apprehension and excitement of the rookies. This time, 10 teams went out to practice, so there was naturally a certain amount of competition. The rules are very simple. Whichever team can hunt more monsters and collect more spiritual flowers and spiritual grasses will naturally be the winning team. After returning, everyone can choose a yellow-level mid-level martial arts. The leader also has considerable rewards. However, Li Liang secretly gave Ling Feng the optimal route map in advance. It can be said that it is difficult for the team led by Ling Feng not to win. "Let's go." Jiang Wanqing didn't even look at Ling Feng. She waved her hand and started taking action with her disciples. Unfortunately, her words obviously didn't have much effect. Everyone was looking at Ling Feng, waiting for him to give orders. Only a few male disciples were attracted by Jiang Wanqing's appearance and followed her for a few steps. Not moving, he quickly retreated. "Let's go." Ling Feng shrugged and said lightly, and everyone immediately followed him, not daring to leave anyone behind. Ling Feng raised his eyebrows. It seemed that in the hearts of these inner disciples, he still held more weight. In fact, it's not Ling Feng's status, but this guy's reputation is great, and his reputation is even greater. He kills people quickly and swiftly. Who dares to provoke such an evil god? Damn it! Jiang Wanqing's face was filled with embarrassment. No one listened to her at all. She stomped her jade feet angrily, gritted her silver teeth, and could only follow him, saying bitterly in her heart, "Damn Ling Feng, remember this for me." Rolling for votes.